Welcome to day 3 of our 2020 week of prayer. My name is James Park and I am the pastor of community engagement here at Wilmot Center Church. We're going to take a look at prophetic prayer. And so I'm just going to read a passage from 1 Corinthians 14, starting in verse 1. Pursue love and earnestly desire the spiritual gifts, especially that you may prophesy. For one who speaks in a tongue speaks not to men, but to God, for no one understands him, but he utters mysteries in the Spirit. On the other hand, the one who prophesies speaks to people for their upbuilding and encouragement and consolation. The one who speaks in a tongue builds up himself, but the one who prophesies builds up the church. And so here are some thoughts for us to ponder today. For some in the church, the word prophecy has a lot of baggage attached to it. Even though it's a biblical word, the word prophecy has also been used in New Age circles, in books and movies that are far from being Christian. Furthermore, within the church, the prophetic has been abused in some ways, to the point where it is avoided totally due to its destructive tendencies. However, when you read Paul's letter to the Corinthian church, it was never supposed to be that way at all. It wasn't supposed to be destructive. It was not to be avoided, but earnestly desired and pursued. In fact, the role and function of prophecy in the church was to 1, build up the church, 2, encourage the church, and 3, console the church. Now, the early church in the book of Acts had prophets, and this is precisely what their role was. In fact, this is what it says in Acts 15:32. And Judas and Silas, who were themselves prophets, encouraged and strengthened the brothers with many words. Several years ago, my wife and I returned home from living abroad in South Korea. When we returned, we went to live with her parents for a couple months until we could find a place of our own and one that we could afford. One day we went to a church where they had prophetic ministry before the service. My wife and I signed up and waited for our turn to be ministered to. And when we sat down, to our surprise, one of the people ministering said, "Hey, I see a home, and you two are in it and looking out the window. God has prepared a place for you." Instantly, tears started welling up in both of our eyes, because that is exactly what we've been praying for. And none of the people ministering in that place knew about it. That word built us up. It encouraged us and it consoled us. Shortly afterwards, we found our home, which turned out to be a great blessing. I mean, it was amazing. And most importantly, it drew us closer to Jesus. And that is another important aspect of prophetic prayer. It must draw the person closer to Jesus. In Revelation 19, verse 10, it says, "For the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy." So the question is, does the prophetic word testify to Jesus? Does it make the person feel like they encountered Jesus? Does it draw them closer to Jesus? Those are all aspects of prophetic prayer that we need to consider. So here's an encouragement for you today. Think of someone in your life who needs encouragement, consolation, and building up. Who is that person? Write that person's name down. And then ask the Lord to show you a picture or a word or a scripture verse for that person that would encourage them and bring them closer to Jesus. Well, that's it for today. Have a great day. God bless you.